Actually, what I would like to do this time, if the internet connection allows, I've tried to make a tutorial video before and it just didn't work last time, so I'm going to try again. If the connection drops at any time during this speech, please just give it like 30 seconds to a minute or so. It should come right back. It's just having a hiccup. It shouldn't like stop the video or anything like that. There'll just be like a bit of a gap there. And I apologize if that happens. If it does, like I promise this should still be a continuous video. It's just, we're just doing it here. So that is a risk of something that can happen. What was I gonna say? Right, so this is gonna go over a lot of stuff that people who have seen our streams before. Actually, before I start, I should just say hello everyone who's here. Penguin, all the lurkers, you are all of course always welcome. I do want everyone to feel as comfortable as possible, whether you're speaking or not. Anyway, so those who've watched our streams before, I'm probably going to say a lot of things that you've heard us say before already, but I'm just trying to put it in video highlight form, recording it for posterity and everything. So I'm kind of taking everything from the top. What I'm going to be doing, I would like to do a little quick tutorial on how we pick colors and shade, light and shadow and everything when we do pixel art. And just for reference, we are using a program called LibreSprite, which is literally the same thing as Aseprite. It's just one's like an open source fork off the source code of the other. So we're just using LibreSprite because it's free. But honestly, either of them, they are identical. They if you use them, any button that you see that you're used to having on one is going to be same button, same exact location, same UI, same everything on the other. They are the same program, just one's open source. So that's the only reason we're using that one. But LibreSprite even reads .asprite files, as you can see here. So yeah, so we're going to be working in LibreSprite /Asprite. We're going to be doing a quick tutorial on how we do shading and such. So let's begin. The reason I chose this stream to do that is because we're actually going to be starting with an all-new sprite here. We just finished Kurt's sprite last time, and as I said in our introduction, Fang, who is not currently in the lineup, needs a sprite, so we're going to make one for Fang. So this will be how we just go ahead, and I'll just show you how we do everything. Now, I should mention we are not masters at this. We're not passing along anything we've learned from masters at this. This is all very amateur and also very self-taught. So this is by no means here's how you do this. This is not the way to do this. If you know more than we do, awesome. If you have a better way to do it than this, awesome. We totally believe you. But hopefully this, for people starting out or for people who haven't dabbled in this medium before, it should hopefully be helpful to at least someone out there. So that's why we're just, this is the Woodling way to do this. So we're going to make a new sprite for Fang. 16 by 24 is usually the size of our sprites. It is the size, if you've ever played the SNES Final Fantasy games, especially Final Fantasy VI, that's the size the sprites are in those games. 4 and 5 also use 16 by 24, just in the battle sprites, when you're in a fight, but they just use, I think, 16 by 16 on the field. Final Fantasy VI uses 16 by 24 throughout. So these are just stylistically our sprites. You can just look at our sprites in the corner there. They look kind of FF6 inspired. That's our style. So yeah, I just do 16 by 24 because it's, that's about the size of that. And I'll give us a new layer there. So we're going to start off. It gives us this palette, which is, just a bunch of starter colors. And by default, the UI is, say hello, good to see you. We are in the middle of a tutorial before we pass along to you. So by default, if you make a new image, it's just going to give you just, you know, this default palette over here, and the UI, I don't know if it's like this by default or if it's just like how we have it set, but you can change how thick this bar is, which changes how many columns per row there are. Like this is more horizontal, this is more vertical. So what we like to do, we always want to set it to be exactly four colors per row, and I'll show you why in just a minute, but just for now, this is just if you're doing it our way, this just, you know, start out by 4, and we're not going to need any of these other colors. So this part, again, if you're in LibreSprite or Aseprite, this little 2-line thing here, you can just drag this up or down to give yourself as many slots on the palette as you want. I thought if you brought it up here and then dragged it back down, yes, perfect. Okay, so that just deletes all, you know, the palette that we're starting with. So these are all blank spaces in our new palette. So we're going to start by getting, so you can zoom in here, and then there's a little preview window here. We're going to start by getting some colors for Fang, and we have a reference for Fang opened up in GIMP, which is a, you know, if you've never used like any full-fledged image editor fancier than like MS Paint, you know, if like Photoshop or whatever feels daunting to you, we recommend GIMP because it's freeware, and even the stuff that's like that feels above, oh hello, good to see you, even the stuff that feels like above your, you understand what's going on here, or like this is way too complicated for you, or this feels like overkill, you know, it's freeware. You're not wasting resources by using GIMP just for like 1 or 2 things. Even if the other stuff goes unused, you know, it's, you're not, you know, you're not wasting money or anything like that. But what we're going to do is just go with the eyedropper tool here and just grab some colors here. So this is all set to just set to flat colors here. Yeah, there's no shading or anything like that, which is fine. We'll add that later. So yeah, we're just going to grab like basic colors here. So we'll start with this one, which is just the fur color here for everything that's not the main. You can't actually see, for whatever reason, unfortunately, if I click on this, you can't actually see the change foreground color window, but it's pulling up a color picker window that has the HTML notation, which is a 6-digit hexadecimal number here, that just gives you that color. I'm going to take that number, which happens to be 7F4613, and I'm going to go back into LibreSprite. I'm going to go to our palette here. Where is it? There we go. I'm going to, and I always, when I'm adding just the base colors that I'm just drawing from the flats, I always put them in the 3rd column of each row. And I'll show you why in just a bit later on this tutorial. But for now, so this will be the 3rd column here. I said 7F4613, so I'm going to say Options, Palette Editor, click on this, and then just type that in here, 7F4613. All right, there is that same, yeah, that's the same brown that you saw in whoops, in Fang's fur there. So perfect, there's that one. So we're just going to keep doing that for other colors we see here. So the next one we're going to want to grab is their main, which is, where's the eyedropper tool? There it is. Their main is 693410. Okay, we can go back there. 693410. And again, these all get, each color gets its own row, and they all go in the 3rd column. I'll show you what the other columns are for in a bit, but we don't want them next to each other for now. We just want every color gets its own row, and they just all go in, like the ones where just eyedropping here go in the 3rd column of that row. So that's 693410. Okay. 693410. Okay. All right, and then we go back and grab, what else can we grab? That dark gray color that we use for like the nose, the lip, the paw pads, the claws. Seems like is that going to be the same one for all of those, it looks like? Sort of, not really. Okay, those are not quite the same. The nose is a little bit lighter than the pads. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that. Honestly, it's similar enough that I'm just going to use the pad color and just pretend that's the nose color too, and the lips. They're all, we don't need, those are all so close to each other. We don't need like 3 colors for that, just the one is fine. 241E16 is the pad color that is going to become the color for all of those. 241E16, okay, go back here. So that goes there, palette editor goes there. 214E16. That is not right at all. That is very green. I must have misread that somehow. 241E16, not 214. Whoops. Yeah, 241E16. Yeah, that's a little more like it. Okay. Okay. All right. So we've got both. So we've got the fur, the mane, the pads. Let's get the eyes. Looks like the yellows of the eyes are. Where's my GIMP window? There it is. Okay, so looks like the yellows are just, oh, that's easy, just like pure FFFF00. So that's just pure yellow on the eyes there. Okay, well, I mean, let's go ahead and add that then, if that is what the color is. Let's go back there to LibreSprite. Then we go, okay, so palette editor. Yeah, so that is just FFFF00. Just incredibly yellows of the eyes there, very bright, okay. Fortunately, we're not going to be doing a lot of complex shading there anyway, so I guess we can get away with that. Anyway, back to GIMP for the green for the inner eye, which is... That is 52DB0B, 52DBOB, 52DBOB, okay. Back to LibreSprite, 52DBOB can go there. 52DBOB, okay. Any other colors we need to get from here? I don't think we're gonna have pixels for the teeth because this is a very zoomed out sprite. Yeah, the claws are the same color as the pads. That's sort of, you know what, we'll just grab this anyway. We may or may not end up actually using this one. But the teeth color here looks like B69E88. Alright, and that should be the last one we need from there. So that can go there. Editor. B69E88. Okay. So those are all the base colors, which you put in the third column there. So we're not grabbing any more, so we can just grab this, drag it back up here, and bring the column, or bring the overall palette size back to about there. Again, so each color has its own row. It's in the third column for now. I'm going to save the palette for now, just to do a safety save. So you say save palette. We're going to call this is Fang's palette, so this is fang.pal. There we go. So now that we've done that, the next thing we're going to want to do is just draw just a shape. Just something like that, but just that fits in the canvas. Something like that is probably fine. I call these rocks. Just draw a rock. Other people call them like balls, spheres, blobs, whatever. Just you know, one of these things. It doesn't have to be fancy in any way. Just a very quick, rough, sort of roundish shape like that. Because what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be using this to test the I'm going to bring this in one actually. We're going to be using this to test the colors we have here. So here's our rock. So I'm going to grab one of the base colors here. So we'll start with the fur color here. And you just kind of bucket fill inside the rock. So here's our basic shape. Now, when we shade things, how we do it is this is why we have 4 colors per, or 4 columns per color here. This is because we're going to want a lighter shade, a darker shade, you know, the base color itself, and then one for the colored outline. So we're going to start by making a lighter shade of this. And to do that, we're just going to click on this color. We're going to go to where it says HSB here. B for brightness. The easiest way to get to shade these is just get colors that are just like the color you have here, but just change the brightness up or down a few clicks. So right now the brightness is at 49. Let's see how 53 looks, I guess, just as a starting point, as a guess. So we're typically, I just pretend my light source is in the upper left corner here. You can put it in the upper right. You can put it wherever you want, really. But if it's in the upper left here, then we're just going to just color the upper left of this rock in that light color. And doing so lets us immediately see at a glance that this color is too similar to the base color. Like, you can barely even tell that this is a different color. Like, you have to lean in and squint to even see that that's a different color. So you don't want it too bright, obviously. You don't want it looking like that, because then it just looks like a completely different color. But you know, if it's too similar, you know, you need to be able to tell, you know, get a sweet spot here, and that's what the rock is for. So so 49, so I had it at 53. That wasn't enough. Let's put it at 58 and see what happens. And then you can just flood fill that. That's a little too light, actually, I think. Maybe 56, 55. 55 doesn't look, what? Well, let's see what 56 looks like. You know, I think I like 55. Okay, and once you're happy with that, okay, that's your light color. Then again, we go back to our base here. We'll do the same thing, but we'll bring it down a few clicks. So if it's 49, bring it down to, I don't know, 42 or so. And again, this is our light sources up here, so this part's light. So this corner down here is going to be shadowy. And this is why we just use a basic rock shape here, because it's pretty easy, just like, you know, just draw a circle, fill in one corner of it, you know, because circles have corners. You know what I meant. Like the northwest edge of it in the light color, the southeast edge in the dark color, and there you go. There's your color test. Yeah, so that's what 52 looks like. I'm thinking that might be, or 42 rather. I'm thinking that might be a little too dark, but it's close. So maybe 44? How does 44 look? That's not bad. That's not bad. Just lose a bit in the preview here. Maybe let's bring that down by 1. So 42 was a bit too much, but 43 was a bit not enough. Then 43 should be just right. I think that's about... Yeah, I changed my mind. I'll put it back to 44. Yeah, 44 is fine. Okay, so there are our light and dark colors. I'm not messing with the palette yet, because as long as you're working on this rock, it's, you know, I can suddenly change my mind and decide I want the light to be a little more light or a little less light or whatever. We're not doing anything with this until the whole thing's done. And then lastly, we're going to want a colored outline, just because our personal art style, you know, a lot of people get by just fine with black outlines. We like taking, you know, whatever color the actual base color is and just making like a significantly darker shade of it. So if this is 49, let's try it down to like 32 maybe, and just make the lines, you know, the outline just a darker shade of that. And there you're going to want to strike a balancing act between, you know, if it looks too dark, then it's just, you know, it's getting too close to black. But if it's not dark enough, then it doesn't look, you know, it blends in. It doesn't look like an outline. So you want it to look, you want it to look like an outline, but you want it to look like, you know, an outline that draws its color from. You can look at the outline and tell what color it's based on. You can tell, like, this outline should match the rest of this rock. And again, I'm just playing with the brightness value here until we get something that I'm more or less happy with. 32, let's try 32. Yeah, 32 is good for now. So once you're happy with these 4 colors, then we're going to go ahead and add them to the palette. We'll take these, we'll go to our palette editor here. So the good thing about doing this all in Aseprite or LibreSprite, when you're just, you know, working within the same program, you can click on the spot you want to put it in, which changes this here. But then with the eyedropper tool, you can also click on, you know, the color you're trying to copy here, which will print it here. And then we can just, you know, read off that and type it in. If you can read the handwriting, it's a bit pixely. 522 looks like DOC. Yeah. Okay, so typically how we arrange our palette is we have the colored outline on the far left, then we have the shadow color after that, so that's going to be 703 D11. Actually, I probably don't need to get out and into this menu. I can do 703 D11. Okay, that one's good. Then the base color there, and then this will be the highlight color. So that'll be that one, which is, looks like if you read down here, that is 8C4D15. And that gets us, and that's why we have four columns per row. So this color, the actual color, the main color is going to be the one in the 3rd column, and then the other columns are the ones based on that. So here's your lighter shade, here's your darker shade, here's your colored outline. You can go back and do the same, you know, thing with this colored rock experiment to generate your palette for all of these. I'm not going to do that for the rest of these because this is a quick tutorial, because you kind of get the idea at this point. But let me just save that palette again because I'm liking how that looks. And instead of doing the rest of this palette for now, or drawing the rest of Fang or anything, I'm just going to switch over to, just for the sake of making this tutorial go faster, I have another sprite over here that we were working on last time. This is in the flat colors. Our palette's done already, so it's, again, you just do that for all your colors, and that's how you get your palette here. And now we're just going to shade this whole thing. So to do that, we're going to, now this is a walk cycle frame, so our shading's based off, we can kind of just copy the shading we got from this one, which we want to do that because, you know, if the shading's inconsistent, like if I were to shade this much of this ear on this frame, but like only this much is shaded on this frame, then like if you look at the ear here, it's like, whoa, what's happening? So like if this one only has like these 3 light colors and those dark colors there, you kind of want them to match that. So yeah, that looks good. That looks good there. But if you haven't, if you're not copying off another frame like this and you're just making, you know, you're deciding where all this goes for the first time, again, we don't have any super fancy tricks for this. Is where someone who's actually like been to art school would probably know more about this than we would, like where to shade and where not to shade. We're just kind of saying, okay, if the light source is up here somewhere, like in this corner, then I guess this corner of the ear where the light hits would be lighter, and then this corner would be darker. I guess you'd have lighter shades of this fur color, like here and here maybe, depending on how they match there. Yeah, we are absolutely winging this. And someone who's more experienced there would know a bit more about where to put these, but that is basically how you do this. The rest of this, if we were to keep filming at this point, would just be watching me continue to shade this sprite, and I don't think you need to, I don't think you need to see all of that, because I think you get the idea by now, you know, for this video at least. Yeah, that goes, that goes there. I guess if this would be, this part would be in shadow. Yeah, you just keep doing this. So for our art style, the critically important thing for us is generating that palette. Like everything comes from the palette. If the colors look wrong, like this is the new version of this sprite. The old version looked like this. And actually that one's kind of messed up. Yeah. Okay, so we'll say this one, for example. Most of what we did to fix this, well, I needed, you know, I just needed to redraw the outline because the proportions are kind of wonky, the anatomy, the body shape, everything. You know, compare that to this one. It's which I'll add the clothes on later, but you know, I'm just getting a little better at just how to draw in general. But the main problem I ran into with this one when I was porting this over and just trying to take the same palette I used from this one and putting it over here is that I just hated how that palette was in retrospect. All these colors to me, on the old palette here, were just way too far apart. Like you compare this shade of lilac for the highlights for this mantle here compared to this is the base color, this is the dark color. Like we're doing the same thing that we did over here, but these are just so far apart to me. These just look like completely different colors. Or this light pink here is so pink that it's not even pink anymore, or so light that it's not even pink anymore. Oh, all right, we'll be right there. We're just wrapping up here, actually. Yeah, this is so light it's not even pink anymore. Compared to that, compared to the dark, which honestly looks like the outline. Yeah, this whole palette was a mess. You look back here, like this light hair versus the normal hair versus the dark hair. So a lot of what we did before we even touched the actual outline, the drawing itself, was just fixing the palette. And again, we're not adding more colors. If you look at our palette here, it's still 4 colors per color, as it were. This is your light fur here. This is the white fur that you get for, like, you know, the hands and feet there. These are the eyes. This is the, you know, the furless part, because I am a rodent, so you've got like the furless hands and feet, or like the inner ears. You know, this is for the mantle, etc., etc. A lot of what we did was just going back and redoing this rock experiment with the palette we had selected there. And once you do this and have them all next to each other like this, you can see when they don't match. And just fixing that fixed like half of this right there, and then redrawing the outline fixed the other half. Okay, so that is our tutorial. Hopefully that helps someone. And again, there are probably better ways to do this. There are probably more expert ways to do this, but this is just how we do it. And hopefully our method helps someone out there. But yeah, there you go. We'll turn this into a highlight and have it out there, and hopefully people can refer to it and use it.